Hey, hello, hi. I am the person you know and have known for a while now as VexFC, and I like making things. I really, really love making pretty much anything, and if you've watched or read or played anything I've ever made, then you know that is the case. And you know a little bit about me, you know that I have an insane side to me, and you know that I love making things. I feel like I'm lost, right? Because years prior, and a lot of you guys do know this, a lot of you, oh jeez, no, but a lot of you do know this, I used to make video games. I mean, I guess you could classify them as video games. I spent 3 years making a horror game in Fortnite. And I know, you're gonna assume, that's a kid's game! That's not making video games! That's stupid! You're not exactly wrong. It is. It's a little bit stupid. But the process and the care and the education and the passion is just the same. It's the same as making a video game. While it is a game within a game, and that concept has changed a lot with, the new era of Fortnite creative, it was every bit of developing a game as developing a game is. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my life story for the past 2 years. The reason, and this is a bit personal, but the reason I wrote CHRONOLEFT is because I felt lost. It's because I felt really, really lost in my life. I knew, and I still know and believe that I do have a ton of potential, but I wasn't using it. And I felt extremely lost after a ton of events of some really shitty things that happened to a teenager that I won't talk about. And so, in turn, I really had no friends. I felt like shit. I absolutely had self-harm thoughts. I won't even lie. And I encourage anyone who is having those thoughts, having felt them myself. And I'm not trying to make myself the victim, right? I'm just trying to tell you my story. But I really, really encourage anyone who is having those thoughts, please, please, please talk to someone. Just tell someone. And, it doesn't have to be a professional $10,000 therapist. Just tell a friend, please. Please, please, please. Suicide is not the way. So I started writing CHRONOLEFT as parts of myself that I hated. And it was parts of myself that were constantly bothering me. I have this thing in my head where it's like multiple voices, and I know that makes me sound insane, and it's probably part of the reason I am insane. I promise you I'm not schizophrenic, but I have this thing where there's multiple personalities, It's not like the multi-personality disorder. It's just and it's common, right? It's very common, but it's different parts of myself that are, it's like the movie Inside Out. And there's a part of me that's really, really smart and intelligent and caring and kind. There's a part of me that's a complete idiot. There's a part of me that is that lost girl having visions in the woods. There's parts of me, are characters you see in CHRONOLEFT. And so I originally just started writing stories about the parts of myself that I hated. I wrote a young man who had anger issues. I wrote a mentally challenged young boy who had trouble paying attention. I wrote a super sarcastic, asshole-ish, very lovable teenager. And they're all just parts of myself, right? And so eventually, I was writing down, I shit you not, this is what I wrote my college entrance essay about. I was riding down on a bike ride in the mountains, and for some reason, I decided to go down next to a river. And I slipped, and I fell, and I hit my head. And instead of swearing and making out the river to be some kind of Disney villain that wanted to hurt me like every other teenager in the world would, I just stared at it. And I had this whole world course through my veins in my brain, and I saw a beautiful, imaginary universe. And I wrote that universe. For the next year, I struggled. It was born of blood, sweat, and tears, and ignoring the shit that I should have been doing to write this, because that's how much faith I had in myself. Point being, CHRONOLEFT and writing was really, 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 really painful and taxing. And as much as I put on the radio voice and like everything's okay, I'm this cool ass voice actor, everything's not okay. I'm struggling, man. And I have been for a long time. But, you know, I'll be okay. I'll be perfectly fine. But good God, doing CHRONOLEFT, writing CHRONOLEFT, was so insanely unhealthy. Just like, and it's a problem, it's a common issue, because when a creator is so hyper-focused on something, everything else, all the necessities of life begin to fade away into meaninglessness. You know, socialization, sleep, food, friends, it all becomes nonsense. And the thing you're creating becomes the only thing that defines your value and becomes your only purpose. And it's insanely unhealthy. But it's the burden you have to bear. And so, a lot of you know the story behind what happened with Epic Games. I don't. I sure as hell don't. I still don't know what happened. But long story short, Creative used to work on a system called Support a Creator, where you would have to assign a certain code to your username, and that would allow you to publish things, and also earn money. And that money came in, and you'd have to have a bunch of tax forms, and yeah, that's the whole thing. But for some reason, the reason I still have not found out a year and a half later, they revoked mine. I don't know why. And if you want to dive into that, you can go check out the video I'll put in the description, or right here, I don't know. Just talking about what happened, because I sure as hell still don't know. I still have no idea. I have a ton of respect for the people working for Epic, and the developers and the passion behind wanting to create this. I believe in the dream of a quote-unquote metaverse of UGC, but boy, Epic Games, it's a monopoly, and I will forever believe that. I think the people working there are awesome. I think the people making big decisions are not awesome. And I'll just leave it at that. But my point is, I've had a vendetta against Epic Games for a year and a half now. And I decided to go back the other day just to experience what it's like. I played Resident Evil 4, which is really fun, really good game, but that's unrelated. And I saw a section. It's the section with the regenerators and the laboratory where you have to divert the power from the dissection to the freezer to the incubator lab. That inspired me so much that I was like, oh my god, I want to make something, you know? And it's a feeling I hadn't felt in so damn long. Because writing is one thing. Writing, you can create a world, you can describe things, you can put in little tiny details that make your world yours and make it something truly unique. But it's not visual. It's not a game. It's just different. And so I found myself back in creative, at first thinking, wow, this is really, really, really stupid. Why am I doing this? And then slowly, I discovered that I had not lost my skill. I was actually still really good at, and you know, that is a flex. It's a full ego flex. But I discovered I was still really good at doing this. Big surprise, because I did it for 5 years, literally 5 years. And I found myself having one of the best times I've had all year. And I've had some really, really good times, but just being back in that world where it was like, I know everything. Like almost any mechanic, name it, and I can do it. Because I've been doing that. I literally almost grew up doing that. And it's just so fun to return to that playground that you know like the back of your hand. And I don't know. I thought to myself, and I literally said out loud, I don't want this to happen. I don't want to go back to this. Because I found myself having so much fun. Like the most fun I've had in the past 5 months. And as I started building out this world that I was inspired by from RE4, I realized, fuck, man, this is my place. Like, you know, this is what I want to do. And I realized that writing CHRONOLEFT was enjoyable. It was. But it's just not the same. I don't have that same option to innovate. It's words. It's words on a page that you can arrange in a certain order. Whereas games, there's hundreds of thousands of mechanics and creative endeavors that haven't been done yet. And I miss that. And I can't miss that because this is like, I've committed to a career of writing, and like I've committed to a career of making things, and it's just so weird because I feel lost. This is what I want to do, and I know that now. I want to make games. I really, really want to make games, but just, I hate Epic Games, and I don't want to give them any more of my talent, and I will say talent because I know I'm talented. And I know I'm talented because they've featured my stuff in the past. I've gotten basically awards. I have made a lot of money at 14 years old, and I met some pretty awesome people and got to work with them. So I know for a fact I am talented. And it's not an ego thing, right? It's just a self-appreciation thing. But I just feel lost because this is a very, very stressful time in my life, and I don't have the bandwidth or the motivation or the time or the money to make this passion a thing again. I just don't. But I want to so badly. I miss it dearly. I really do. And so I just feel lost. I'm torn, I'm torn between CHRONOLEFT is supposed to be a trilogy, but I don't think at this point right now in my life, I don't think I can finish it. I don't think I can. Maybe I can finish it in some other format, but in that writing and putting everything you have into something, I just don't think I can do it. I don't. And I know I can if I really, really commit and put in everything I have and, sit in a room for a year on end and not talk to anyone, not sleep, not eat. But that's not healthy. And it's wasting life. And it's the little bits of life that are so essential to creating memories and to serving this purpose of being here on this planet. And I don't know. You see, what you see is a confident, crazy-ass, insane teenager. But behind it all, there's a lost soul. And I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to have faith in. I'm scared. I am. And I'm fully okay with admitting that. I'm terrified. I'm terrified of what's to come. I just feel lost, I just feel so thrown out into this void of things. I've done so many things. I've voice acted. I've directed voice acting. I've directed trailer making. I've filmed in real life. I've filmed in digital. I've done mocap. I've done my own Blender. I've made VR art museums for my school. I've gotten to judge actual school architecture at a professional building. I made $4,000 at 14 years old from making games and having them featured by a corporation. I collabed with a ton of really crazy people at a very young age, and I've done so much more. I wrote a book. I wrote an episodic story. I wrote a TV show. I've done so fucking much, and I have so much untapped skill that I've learned from all of this. And I just don't know what to do, right? Because there's so many things I could do. There's so many things I want to do. And I've never been good at school. I will tell you that. I've never, ever been good at school because school is teaching people to think like a robot. It punishes you for not thinking in one specific way. And I've never, ever been good at thinking in that one specific way. The best example I have is my teacher, freshman year of high school, asked, it was like, I forget the class, but he held out a paperclip and he said, okay, come up with as many uses for this as possible. And I'm not trying to flex. I'm not trying to say I'm special, but I am trying to say my mind does not work the same as everyone. And everyone's mind doesn't work the same as everyone. I've never been an academic because I'm terrible at it. My brain is not built to do that. And so everyone else came up with generic examples, like lockpick, use it as a conductor for electricity. And that's perfectly fair, and I'm not judging them for that at all. But I respond with, okay, here's what you can do with a paperclip. You give it to a bunch of students and then ask them to tell you how many ideas you can use it for. It's full circle. It's thinking outside the box. And I got penalized for it. The teacher said no, which I find to be complete bullshit, because it represents how the American school system works. It's just teaching kids, sucking out their creativity, saying you have to do this one task or your value amounts to nothing in this world. And because I'm not good at thinking like a robot, I'm penalized for it. And so I don't have many options right now. I have a ton of talent, I have a ton of untapped potential, and I'm aware of it. And I think that's a good thing, and it's not an ego thing. But I don't have many options. I can't go to a big old fancy school because of price, but also because my GPA is not that good. I don't represent myself that well in person. It's scary. I'm fucking terrified. And I just needed a place to vent this out to. So thank you for being that. I have faith in myself. I have faith that I'm going to be huge someday. And again, it's not an ego thing. It's just a self-love, faith, motivation thing. But I'm lost. I'm lost in a sea of 1,000 things I've done before and probably will do again. And I don't know where to go. There's 100 different doors that are all open. And most of them have giant spiky death traps behind them. And I don't know which one to swim to. So, yeah, thank you for listening to me being an idiot. CHRONOLEFT is almost out on the talk of this. At my wee young age, I have a ton of other responsibilities that I need to balance in between releasing my book. Believe it or not, I am not an octopus who sits at his computer all day making things. I have a ton of shit to do. And this is a very, very, very stressful time in my life. But it's okay. I know I'll make it through. So thank you. Thank you for listening to me vent. Appreciate it.